All right, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to round 3 of the 2024 Hoosier Hero Driver. And now we've got a guy that's, I don't know how to describe this because what I want to say, I can't say on that you drive, okay, is Spencer Basin. He drives a World Outlaw sprint car. I don't know how you do that, buddy. You got to have the biggest kahunas in there to sit in that seat. I mean, it just, to go and do that, it's got to be a thrill, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is absolutely a thrill each and every night. It surprises you almost every time. I'm just so fortunate to be able to do what I do and do something I enjoy and love so much. Growing up as a young kid, just being a fan of the sport and the industry, and then to be here today, getting to do what I've always dreamt of is definitely special and something that's I'm really lucky for sure.
That's true. So anyway, congratulations on being one of the 2024 Hoosier Hero Drivers. You're in a pretty cool. God, I can't spit it out. Cool crowd, that's for sure, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's I was over there talking about it with Neil and their group of, it's kind of cool when I first started 10 years old racing quarter midgets.
Mm-hmm. That's what I was going to ask you. 10 years old, right? Okay.
Yeah, 10 years old and quarter midgets. I was racing on a Hoosier tire and then ran there for a couple of years just as really a hobby, and got into micro sprints on a Hoosier tire, into midgets, Hoosier tire, sprint cars. So through my whole experience and career moving through the ranks, I've been running on a company tire that's based out of my home state, Indiana. So it's kind of cool to run Hoosier tires and kind of be able to represent that brand on a yearly basis.
That's true. So how long have you been driving a sprint car?
Driving a sprint car, I started kind of part-time racing sprint cars a little bit in 2017, okay. 2018. Ran real light schedules there for about 2 years. About 2 years. And then in 2019, tried to make the full-time commitment.
Yep.
And from then really until the end of 2021, I was hopping around a lot, trying to get to essentially where I am today with a full-time team on a full-time series. And so it was a tough couple of years. There was a few times there where I thought this was, not meant to be, and I'd have to go find something else to do. But fortunately, with the right opportunities and won a couple big races and cars that I was kind of part-time in, was able to get this opportunity with CJB and put us here where we are today.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you definitely landed in a really good spot with CJB. They're a great organization. They're kind of concrete out there on the tour. They've been at it for a long time. There's been a lot of big names in that seat. It's just got to probably feel like such an honor to get in with a team like that of that caliber and be able to go out and compete at the highest level.
It absolutely does. And after, like I said, struggling there for a couple of years of really just being a kind of a B team driver, filling in for injured guys, sick guys, whoever it was, to be able to finally be aligned with a team like CJB Motorsports with our owner Chad Clemens and crew chief Barry Jackson. It just feels really good and rewarding, because then now you get to focus towards something. There for a long time, in a month's time, I would run 4 different types of chassis with 4 different crew chiefs at 4 different racetracks.
That's hard to get used to that.
It's hard to get used to anything or really build towards something, because you're constantly sitting in a car a little bit different, or you're not completely comfortable, but you have to get through it just because you're only there for a night or two. Now being with CJB, you really look into the future and you really establish your goals and kind of what you're building for. So being able to finally have that is definitely a luxury in compared to what I was used to. But you don't spend much time thinking about, man, this is great, and this is awesome. It's you got to get to work. You got to get stuff done and progress and constantly be building for the next weekend and the next race.
So anyways, for our listeners listening and watching too, it's a 410 sprint car, which means it's 410 cubic inch, weighs 1,100 pounds, I'm guessing.
With the driver, it's about 1,400 pounds.
1,400 pounds, and we're pushing about
a little over 900 horsepower.
A little over 900 horsepower. Cool. So now tell me about that G-force in that as you coming down that straightaway wide open, because you hardly ever let off, correct?
Depends on the track.
Sure.
Yeah.
But
Some
most-
places,
yeah.
most places you got
You're
to
just
hammer down.
Hammer down.
Yep.
So as you're coming into that coming down the straightaway, and you're getting ready to make that turn, your mind's telling you to turn, I guess. But tell me what you're going through when you're getting ready to hit that corner.
Well, what makes what we do with the wing sprint car so unique is the wing part. It's essentially it's an upside down airplane wing that's, rather than lifting us up into the sky, it's shoving us down into the earth. So having 900 horsepower in such a lightweight race car, it is a almost impossible feat to get all that power into the ground.
To the ground.
To the ground. So the winged part of it is, what makes it really unique, because it's shoving you into the racetrack, but the left sideboard is up higher than the right, so it's really trying to pull you to the left and down into the racetrack more than you would, I guess, expect. So at the end of the straightaway, you're full song, and there's some places where you don't quite barely wiggle the wheel and the whole thing changes direction, and it just
really, there's that little bit of a wheel movement.
Because if you think, if you're holding up a billboard or just a big poster board on a windy day, and if you just change the pitch of that board at all, it'll just take off on you, right? So it's the whole idea is keeping the car as straight as possible to allow perfect downforce, and you get maximum grip that way. So it's funny. So a quick story of the first time I got into a wing sprint car after racing a midget, which is a car without a wing. I spent the first 2 or 3 laps running down through the infield at Kokomo Speedway, because I'd get to the end of the straightaway and turn the sprint car like a midget, as you get into the corner to get it sideways and start your entry. But at the moment that you open that sideboard, it pulls the whole car down into the infield, and I was spitting grass out of the infield for about 2 or 3 laps. So it's just such a weird dynamic, and it took a long time to get used to, but it's what makes sprint cars so unique, and it's what makes it so challenging to watch. You watch a lot of non-sprint car guys or non-wing guys jump in one and struggle for a while.
Oh, yeah.
And they think they should be able to figure it out right away, but it's like, man, you don't understand. We took a long time to get to where we are today.
Yeah. So the you know how many G-forces you're hitting when you're hitting that corner? Any idea?
I don't know if anyone's ever
measured that. But it's got to be at least a couple, I would think.
I would think, yeah.
Yeah. And then speed-wise, how fast are you really going? Say the biggest track you race is what, a half mile?
Half mile. Yep.
Yeah. So on a half mile track, about how fast are you guys running?
I think we didn't run Bristol this year, but 2021 and 2022 they ran at Bristol. I think that's the fastest. I know it's the fastest I think I've ever gone. I think we were at 145 or 150.
Now, is that average? 145?
I think that was top speed there.
Top speed.
But you're cornering at probably 140. Like you don't lose speed, because you're just not.
You're just going.
There you were so slammed in the racetrack. Now the places that feel really, really fast are the really high banked quarter mile tracks.
Quarter mile
tracks.
Really?
So that's like a high school running track.
Yeah.
When those places, like out in California, there's a track, Merced Speedway.
Okay.
For whatever reason, that place felt probably the fastest out of any track we ever ran. A lot of it has to do with just the fact that it was so small and so banked that the cars are getting into the racetrack with a lot of grip, because of the banking is holding you. Those are the places that feel just wicked fast, because stuff happens so
now
quick.
On that quarter mile bank, are you letting out of the gas, or are you wide open?
Qualifying there, we were wide open.
Trying,
just the motors absolutely screaming, because obviously the gearing is much different on a small place.
Sure.
And you're just hanging. You pretty much feel like you're almost kind of strapping yourself to a rocket, and you're just trying to guide it. Yeah, trying to precisely put it around the racetrack. So.
Well, I would say I would love to try one with no wall. So make
sure there's no infield wall.
No infield wall.
Yeah. And just to go try it once to see how it would be like or whatever. Yeah. Just to feel the power, I think would be incredible. I mean, isn't that power just impressive? Or
it's a kid in a candy store every weekend for me. The moment that you jump in, you get suited up, you jump in for engine heat, which you go out there, you pack the track, you don't really get on the gas, but you come back and you're sitting in your car putting heat in the motor, so you've leaned it down, and the engine's got the lope to it. The whole car is just shaking, and then it's like you go out for hot laps and get to it the first time, and everything, your senses, everything comes to life again. And it's an exhilarating experience, and I'm definitely lucky to get to do what I do.
I trust me, I believe it and I understand it. So now, what's 2024 bring for you?
Well, we are, as we speak, establishing a few minor details left before we get to announce our plans and intentions for next year.
Okay.
I'm back with CJB, back on their program and continuing to build towards, what we've been building towards the last couple of years. And I'm excited to announce our plans for next year and see where we end up. I think there's some great races next year. We've seen a lot of I don't want to say improvement, but a lot of exciting things happening in sprint car racing over the last couple of years, and a lot of that having to do with the streaming services and all the money that's coming into the sprint car racing world. So it's I'm excited for next year, and there's gonna be some really, really cool events happening.
Go ahead. You had your breath going.
So I want to talk to you about the tire for a second, right? So a year ago when we were here, we announced, some new tires for sprint car racing, going away from the H series tire, going to the D12As on the left rears and the D15As on the right rear. So as a driver in the seat, aside from the guys that, are setting the car up and doing the tuning on the car, what are some things that you notice different with the new tire that we're running on? What do you see as some of the pros of it? And also, what are some of the things that you maybe struggled with, or there's some of the cons of it?
I didn't really work completely hands-on with them as much, obviously, as some of our tire specialists do. I think I struggle with it a little bit more than some others, maybe just because I'd only ever ran on the H tire. So I'd kind of established unknowingly I had established a feel and a sensation that I wasn't actually going to get with this tire. So it was something different for me to try to adapt to. I feel like you definitely don't have as much grip. So everything's kind of slowed down and become more difficult. You have to be more precise with your decisions and your actions on the racetrack. I know for our tire guy, Eric, he spent a good amount of time trying to relearn kind of what the blocks need for siping and grooving and, what types of dirt.
That is an art, isn't it?
It is. It absolutely is. It's one that I don't fully understand. I don't, fortunately, I don't have to mess with that too much.
You got other things to focus on, right?
I got other things to focus on, but from an outside perspective, watching him adapt and learn and speak with others into learning, what if we went to one racetrack every week and it was prepped the exact same and the sun was at the exact same point, the temperature was always the exact same, you could develop a rhythm. But what makes crew chiefs, tire guys, crew guys really, really good is adapting to the changes, adapting to the different circumstances, the different dirt, the different track shapes all over the country, and perfect it every week. So that was definitely something that was interesting to watch, as everyone in sprint car racing was learning a new tire.
Yeah, when I would go, when I would come, to one of your races last year, to be the tire dealer, and I would kind of walk around the pits, after, the heat race or after the A feature and even before, and just, kind of try to glance at kind of what everybody was doing, how they were grooving them and how they were siping them. And it definitely was all over the board. There was not one team, next to another one that was really doing the same thing. They were all kind of in experimental mode, trying to learn as much as they can. And like you said, trying to adapt to the new tire and the conditions. So,
yeah. And I think there were certain teams that were able to figure it out quicker or better than others. I think we were definitely a little bit behind. We thought we had kind of established a little bit of an idea of the type of characteristic that it had and what it was asking for, and had built 2 or 3 weeks into that and pursuing that avenue, and then thought we had to figure it out in the next week, and we went somewhere else and had a completely different feel. And I was like, well, crap, now all right, let's back to ground zero. So now we can kind of try to reestablish. So it definitely presented us with a different challenge. I'm still, I've been on the road for 2 years now, full time with this team, and I'm still learning lots of things. I mean, I think it takes a lot of time to get to the point where, the Brad Sweets and the Donnie Schatz and David Gravels and Carson Macedos and people like that are. So still working to get there. This offseason will be good for us to rebuild and reestablish, kind of hone back in on where we need to be and be ready to hit hard in next year.
Awesome.
Okay, will you run World of Outlaws? Of course, will you run any other races besides World of Outlaws? Is that your primary focus, or?
Our primary focus is yet to be determined. Actually,
really? Okay.
I have a meeting here in a couple hours to finalize our decision and exactly where we need to be. So that'll be an exciting announcement that we have planned for tomorrow.
Shoot, where are you going to do that at?
It'll be on social media, of course, just like everyone else does.
Somewhere here at PRI, though, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
That's fine. Yep.
Maybe in the Hoosier booth.
Maybe not. That's not my decision. So we'll see. Yeah.
Love to watch you see what that announcement's going to be, where you're going to go, and everything else. I'm going to follow you. I'm going to follow all your drivers and stuff too. It's fun to get to meet more people in this business and stuff. It's so much fun. But just love following you guys. And again, congratulations on being a hero driver. I mean, that's got to be quite an accomplishment and a good feeling to be with that class of people. I mean, there's a lot of good class in there.
Yeah, no doubt. It like I said before, it's special. It's a fellow Indiana company. And being able to represent a company that I've been part of or been racing with since I was, very little is something really, really cool and something to be proud of. So honored to be with the Hoosier Hero group, a good group of people, and proud to represent them for next year.
Well, hey, thanks for hanging out with us for a little bit. Thanks for letting our listeners learn about you and the hero drivers and all that good stuff too. Good luck on where you're going to end up. We'll follow you. We'll find out where you're going to be. And hopefully when where you're racing, we're in our area, Kansas, Colorado, Nebraska, whatever, we'll be there to support you.
Yeah, no doubt. I'm looking forward to getting back in the Midwest and doing some racing there. So we will see you down the road.
Sounds good.
All
Thanks
right,
again, buddy.
Thank
Congratulations.
you.
Congratulations, Spencer.
Thanks.